welcome back to Project Independence and You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We are now in our Talk of the Town segment, also known as the Kristina Lou Hour. Kristina gathers all the information on the town, and we talk about what's going on. But even a little more special is we have Councilman Peter Zuckerman, who is joining us today during Talk of the Town. And I know that Councilman Zuckerman has a lot of information going on in the town. And we're all so excited that we're coming back to normal again. We have these programs and, we're outside, Fun Day Monday and all kinds of things. So what's some of the exciting info you have for us today?
Well, good morning. First of all, thank you all for having me here today. We certainly appreciate all of your hard work, and we follow your broadcast, and everyone. You all do a wonderful job, so thank you.
Thank you.
I'm the councilman for District 2. So my district is Roslyn Heights, Roslyn Harbor, Greenvale, Glenwood Landing, East Hills, East Williston, Herricks, Manhasset Hills, and a little sliver of New Hyde Park. So if you drew it on a map, it sort of looks like a boot. It's kind of funny. But, that being said, now that spring is here and things are warming up, and it's, hopefully COVID is trending in the right direction. We're looking forward to having some wonderful events at the town, outdoors and open events. Coming up on April 30th, we have our spring fling at Clark Botanical Gardens. Clark Gardens is such a wonderful, wonderful place. It really is a jewel within my district. For all those who haven't been there in a while because of COVID or just because of the winter, whether it's for spring fling or just any other day, I really recommend getting out there to see the wonderful flowers and everything that we have going on there. It's really something that is special. So if you could come out that day for spring fling or another day, I would certainly recommend that. We have other events coming up in the town. We have our wonderful Memorial Day fireworks. This should be akin to our traditional Memorial Day fireworks presentations in the past. Again, with COVID, we had some restrictions the last few years, but This should be akin to our traditional Memorial Day fireworks. It's an event that I am, truly looking forward to. We have another event coming up, and that's our Asian American Festival, and that's in May, on May 14th at North Hempstead Beach Park. So we're also very excited about that as well. But things are definitely coming back. As far as Project Independence, we're very proud here at the town of North Hempstead of the services we provide to our seniors, whether it's a ride to a nurse or to a doctor's office, whether it's rides to the supermarket. Those are things that we're very proud of because we want to assist our seniors with respect to aspects of their daily activities, and going to the supermarket or going to a doctor is something that we would like to facilitate. In addition to that, and this is available on our website, some of the traditional programs that our Project Independence services provided are coming back. Those are classes for seniors, whether it's a dance class or some type of a fun class. But this is something we're coming back to, and we're very excited about that. Some of the other things that I wanted to talk about today, for the last few years, the town of North Hempstead has maintained a AAA bond rating with Moody's, and we continue to do. Thank you.
Excellent.
And we continue to have that in place, and it's something that we're very proud of, and it's something that we all work hard to do that. We've throughout the pandemic, we've had services relating to storefronts and businesses. We've had something called Small Business Spotlight, in which we're spotlight really shining a light on our small businesses. And the council people like myself and the supervisor, we're going to these small businesses within our districts and promoting them because we certainly want to encourage small businesses within our town. And given what everybody has went through with COVID, we need to spotlight those, and that's what that is. We have two other programs relating to businesses. We have one program with restaurants where it allows restaurants that have a parking area in front of their business that they've been able to use that for table space, outdoors. And that's been something that's been very popular. We also have another program that allows for the closing of streets for pop-up sales or for restaurants as well. And these are two programs that we're very proud of, and it's something we've been really put into place so we can promote our small businesses and keep them active, during the COVID period. And we'll continue to have those going on as well. I also want to remind everyone that it's tax time, and our taxes are due soon. They're due in May. If you haven't already paid, please, if you have questions, reach out to our wonderful tax receiver, Charles Berman, at his office. But the deadline is in May, and we want to make sure everyone pays before that deadline in May. So please, everybody, take care of that.
People can always call 311, right,
Absolutely.
Councilman, or 869-6311 for any information on everything you're talking about here.
Yes, I know. Yes, absolutely. 311 is a perfect way to answer any questions you might have about anything that I'm saying, or any questions you have about something occurring in your district. Just today, my office received an inquiry from 311 with questions relating to garbage pickup. So really anything you have a question about, 311 is really a wonderful tool to get those questions answered. If it's something more specific relating to a property or so forth, the town will create a service request number, and the council person whose district it is will certainly get back to the constituent who reached out. But 311 is a program that we're very, very proud of for people who have questions relating to any services or any issues relating to the town of North Hempstead.
Yeah, we find a lot that somebody will call about something, and like there's a flag in there, a red flag, that something else comes up. Like sometimes somebody will call for a food, like a Project Independence transportation to go to the supermarket, and they'll say something like, "I have no food." Well, I need to go food shopping. Well, then one of that'll put a flag in for even our mobility manager to say, well, maybe our social worker a Project Independent social worker should speak to the person to kind of delve in. Why don't you have food? Were you away? Or are you not able to get out? Is there a money issue? So many times, I'm sure you even get calls in about something, Councilman, that, you might say, oh, this probably could be handled better by Project Independence, or maybe let me send you to somebody in parks who can direct you how to get a permit, or, things like that. So many times you get a call and you identify something that, somewhere else, another department in the town or someone else in the town can also lend a helping hand. So,
you're 100% correct. That is those are all excellent examples how 311 could lead us to really help and solve people's problems. Sometimes when someone calls with a particular item, it does lead to those things. I think the main item that we all must keep in mind is we're here to help the constituents and help the residents in the town of North Hempstead. And sometimes a constituent might reach out, but they don't know the appropriate department. And you're 100% right. And we need to guide them and get those answers for them. And that's really a service that is special. And we're very proud of our 311 team and our operators and everyone who's there and works tirelessly in order to help all the residents of the town of North Hempstead, certainly. But there was one item I wanted to mention today, because I've spoken to several members of the Nassau County Police Department, and they sort of put this out there because of everything going on with COVID and the economy. There's been a lot of they call them phishing attempts, targeting seniors in particular. And I know we have lots of seniors that may be on the Zoom here today watching. So I want to just tell everyone to be careful and caution them. Be on the lookout for phishing type instances in when people are trying to get your social security number or your banking information or sensitive information that would allow them to potentially use that for bad things. A Nassau County police officer was telling me of a situation where this particular senior received an email claiming that there was a $1,700 or $1,800 charge on their credit card. And it was obviously a false email because the resident reached out to whatever number was on the email address. And they, the person on the other line was trying to secure the resident's social security number and banking information. And at some point during the conversation, the resident, thank God, realized that this was a phishing expedition. But I'm sure there are times when people are unable to, ascertain if something is fake or not. So we have to make sure that people pay special mind to that. We've had a few instances where people are using their bank card at gas stations, and different crazy things are happening there. So if you use a credit card, but don't necessarily use your bank card, because that is something that some seniors may have been involved in.
Because that bank card's leaked, could be linked directly to your checking or your
Mhm.
savings account. So if you're using your credit card, then they can, worry about that. The credit card company will.
Right. At least there's an additional level of security if you're using your credit card to purchase gas as opposed to your bank card. I know lots of people just use the bank card because it's quote unquote seamless. But specifically with regard to the gas pumps, use the credit card instead of your bank card, because that's an area where things have been occurring. And whether it's getting a false bill so that someone can try to ascertain your bank numbers or your social numbers, be really careful. It starts out as an email just asking for you to confirm that this is not you, and then it can lead to all kinds of terrible things. So we really caution all residents, but seniors in particular, to pay a close mind to this, because these scam folks are targeting our seniors.
Yes,
and it's
they
a
are.
horrible thing for certain.
Yeah, it really is. And if no one's going to email you about an issue with your credit card, that would never happen. They have ways of doing it. Maybe you would get a text, but always what you should do if somebody's calling about your credit card, a charge, is just hang up with the person and call the number on your credit card and say, did you call me?
Yeah,
And then they'll, it's really the best thing to do is just never, and especially if you're being rushed, like if somebody on the other phone is like, listen, let me just give me your bank number quickly and we'll credit you. And, if it's done like that, that's a no. They're rushing you, so you don't have time to kind of take a breath and, listen to what these people are saying, because it probably sounds hokey if you really think about it, but they're
and I think it's important, and this is a perfect, you didn't even realize this, Councilman Zuckerman, but after your segment, we have on Assemblywoman Sillitti is coming on because she wanted to actually discuss some senior scams, because there are these upticks. So you didn't even know that. You were very on point today. But I think it's so important too, and we say this all the time on this show. Unfortunately, these scammers are out there. They're creative. There's times that I have to, double check certain things, to really, because it looks legit. And I think it's so, so important to report it, to notify, whether it's your local council person or Project Independence or, a neighbor, whatever it is, to get the word out there, because unfortunately it's very difficult to stop these people. But to bring light to these different things that are coming on, there's always these trends, as you had mentioned, about these phishing scams that are going on. And I think that I just want to encourage anyone listening to always call, and you can report it in so many different ways, but certainly by calling 311, and we can kind of get the word out there, because it's our best line of defense, against these horrible things.
Right, and Kristina, what you said is 100% accurate. If one resident got this, you could be sure that another 50 also.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. So if we can then put out the word so that people don't have to, or at least be on notice of this, it's certainly something that would be terrific. And by the way, this is not something that's going away.
Yeah.
It's happening all the time. You know,
I
and that's
just got a potential spam call. As we're talking about it, my phone is ringing and it says potential spam. So it's just, it's out there in every way too, you know, through phone calls, emails, you name it. It's just, you gotta really be, you know, be suspicious of almost everything.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to someone from the Nassau County Police Department a few weeks ago, and they were telling me a story about a resident of Nassau County that had an issue, and it was from a phishing email that they claimed a bill was generated, and they were able to get different banking information, and before you knew it, money was taken from this resident's account in some way, and you know, it started off innocently enough, and it really spiraled. So I look forward to hearing what comes next, certainly. But we have to all be vigilant about this and really, take care with it for sure, for sure.
I think it's important to have guests on this radio show like you, like Assemblywoman Sillitti, talking about it, because it really is the letting people know. And there's embarrassment too.
Yeah.
People get embarrassed, you know, like some people get convinced to buy a gift card and then call the person back with the gift card number. And before you know it, it actually happened with my stepmother in Florida. And the person at the Publix where she shops noticed that she's buying this particular gift card, and the manager came over and said to her, did you get a phone call that this is, and the manager of the store said to her, you're being scammed, and they called the number back. So yeah, all right, well, we have to go to break. That was quick. Thank you so much, Councilman Zuckerman, for taking the time out and talking about what's going on in the town and also updating us on some more scams. And we're going to be speaking with Assemblywoman Sillitti in just a moment and hear some of the information that she has. So again, thank you for being such a wonderful friend to Project Independence. And we will be right back after a short break.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios Podcasts, available on any podcast app. You know, those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Your host today, along with host Kristina Lou, and I'm Rebecca Miller. We were just speaking with Councilman Peter Zuckerman, who gave us a lot of information on what's going on in the town. And also we touched on, the topic of scams. And what a perfect segue for our next guest today. I can't say enough about Assemblywoman Gina Sillitti, who is not just, a staff person, was a staff person at the town, a dear friend to all of us, and just the kindest person. And she's got the best hair too. I mean, we're a little competitive when it comes to that, but we're just so happy to have you here. Project Independence loves you. And I know you're always listening to your constituents. In fact, you said you had a senior, one of your constituents, come to your office to show you something they received in the mail. So why don't you just kind of give us a little bit of an overview of what you've been doing and hearing, and all your kind of recommendations that you have for us today.
Sure. Oh, well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited. This has been actually a day of radio interviews. So this is, just so wonderful, getting kind of the message out to folks about what's happening in the state and some of the fun things that we're doing locally. So yes, Gina Sillitti, I'm actually pretty new at this job, but, we hit the ground running last year in January. It's been a challenging but rewarding experience. Of course, the pandemic has really been the highlight of my first year in office, of course, and but it's been a lot about helping people. And so here we are. So segue into, the scams and what the seniors are seeing. And, unfortunately, especially with tax day, really people are using that to take advantage, and they were doing it that day. And pretending they're the IRS and doing all these different things. And our seniors are very on top of it. I mean, people, so first of all, I'm having a scam, don't fall for fraud, informational seminars, because this issue has become so prevalent, especially with our older population. So we're working with the New York State Attorney General's office, Letitia James, somebody from her staff, a guy named TJ Hatter, who's wonderful.
Yes, we've had TJ on the show before.
We've had, he's so great, isn't he? So great. And he does this really fantastic presentation. We reached out to Attorney General James's office. TJ agreed to do this, and we have a couple of locations in the district for our residents. So, and they're going to talk about a whole range of things, but the second the newsletter, or excuse me, the postcard popped in the mail, I mean, people called it and signing up, which was wonderful. And one woman's like, yeah, and I just got your postcard, and I also got something else at the same time, and it doesn't look right, and I'm going to bring it with me. And, so she was great. And, she was already spotting the scam. But so the two dates, just so your audience knows, is coming up actually next week. That's the first date, April 28th. At the Port Washington Library, and up here in Port Washington, and it's going to start at 10 a.m. And then the second date is Friday, May 6th at the Shelter Rock Library, also at 10 a.m. And the Shelter Rock Library is on Searingtown Road in Albertson. And the Port Washington Library is, the technical address is 1 Library Drive, but it's on Main Street in Port Washington. And so, yeah, it's actually, by the way, also my first in-person town hall style meeting. So, obviously it was very difficult with the pandemic. And so last year, what I did was I did mobile office hours. So I did at every library in the district. We did morning times, we did afternoon times, and we allowed people to, of course, sign up and come. It was like bringing government to you, right? So we brought them to the library right where people live, and they made appointments to sit and talk with me directly. And they were wildly successful. And we're going to be doing those again this year. I think people like the one-on-one, but for this, this sort of thing, with the time constraints, of Mr. Hatter, we're doing these 2 meetings, and so it should be really great. And I hope the seniors find it helpful and informative.
I always find with these scam presentations are great in a kind of community forum, because just to bring that knowledge to, well, I got this in the mail. And then, because I know in our advisory committees, that would always happen back, as someone say, I got this postcard, and then say, oh, well, I got this too. I got this card. It's people, it kind of jogs your memory about things that happened to you and really gets the word out there, because I think that's just so important with all these.
So important. Yep. And it's unfortunate, they're targeting, people take advantage of the vulnerable. And so we're going to fight back, and we're having this meetings. Right. And, make sure that they have the tools they need to make informed decisions.
It seems like early on there were, those scams where people, there was word out, like, it was the grandchild calling, saying they were in jail or in an accident. I'm in Spain, I'm here, wire money. And then that kind of calmed down a little bit because the word got out, and it's happening again. But like, there's like cycles, because eventually, we started getting the emails that, your $10 million inheritance from somewhere, some other
Exactly.
country.
And the gift cards and the,
Fill
but
out
yes,
this
like it's,
form. It would ask, just fill out this form and, and then there'll be misspelling in there. So, I mean, the likelihood is that will never happen from a legitimate bank.
It's hard, and I think it's just, and that's what's, the beauty and the curse, of technology is getting out information, but then it gives you access to, different ways of, connecting to people.
The bad actors. Yeah.
I frequently get, something that looks just like the United States Postal Office. It'll have the logo and everything looks legit, and you'll get this email that says, there's a problem with your package. And I think this is something that I increasingly have seen, especially during the pandemic.
Yes.
I, like a lot of people, have been ordering a lot of things. And so, they're banking on the fact that you do have a package waiting. And if you're dealing with my house, there's always some kind of package we're waiting for.
Same.
And you would get it and say, there's a problem with your address, so please verify, fill out this form. And, if you just take it at face value, you say, oh, okay, that makes sense. Let me just verify my information, and then what I always do, is really just to click on, see where the email comes. And usually
the email never is right. Right.
And that's the dead giveaway. But if you're really just looking at something, just and saying like, oh, okay, this looks legitimate. Oh, I just have to verify my address. No
they're
problem.
very sophisticated. Bad people are very sophisticated. So excuse me. Yeah. So they're, so this is, one of those things, that we're, try to inform the public. And so I hope that, people will find it helpful. And what we're also going to do is we're going to record the sessions, because some people, are still not comfortable, and which is fine. But we want to make sure that the information does get out. So we're going to record it and eventually post it up on my website, the government website, and I'll share it with you guys as well, so you can share it with your, your members. So
now, are
to
these
get the word out that way.
presentations, do you have to register to attend these presentations?
We do, yeah. So thank you so much for reminding me. You do have to register. We ask people, there's a few ways you can go about doing it. Probably the easiest way is to call our office. And first of all, you should have this number anyways, in case you ever need anything for us. Hopefully you don't, hopefully you don't have a reason to call us unless you just want to say hi, which is also okay. It's you call our office to sign up, so we can, keep track of how many people are coming. And the number is, of course, 516-482-6966. And then the other way, for our computer savvy folks, you can register online at my website, nyassembly.gov/Sillitti. Now, spelling my last name is always fun. I like to tell people it's like Mississippi. SILLITTI.
There you go. That's good.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And so, you remember it that way. All eyes. So you register, and we'll get you set up, and we'll see you hopefully on one of those 2 dates.
Great.
So Gina, I mean, I know you want to talk to us about scams and you're giving a lot of information, but I want to ask you, how does it feel to be an assemblywoman for New York State? I mean, how has it impacted your life? And
Well, first of all, it's been incredible. For your viewers or listeners, I should say, I worked in government for a very long time at various levels. And if you know anything about Long Island, there's like 100 layers of government. I worked in some of those. And I worked in Nassau County, and then I worked in the town of North Hempstead, where, of course, I met Rebecca and Kristina. I worked for, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners know, the Department of Community Services, which we would dub ourselves the Department of Fun. And I mean, what kind of job is, better than showing up dressed up as like, I don't know what, and hanging out with seniors all day? Dressing up as a clown, as a cowgirl, as a this, as that. And just, it was literally like the best job. But life changes and you move in different directions. And I decided to run for office. I think you guys will appreciate this, in February of 2020. And, everything was fine with the world. Nothing was going on. And And, you know, and I was gonna, you know, so excited to meet people and, you know, knock on doors and like all this stuff. PS, you know, everything shut down. And so, you know, okay, congratulations, you're running for office, but you can't talk to anybody. It's like, okay. But, you know, it all worked out, obviously. And I started in January 2021. And it was, you know, it was difficult. There was a lot of people that were struggling. I mean, listen, I represent a very, you know, nice area of, you know, Nassau County and New York. And, but the pandemic didn't care what zip code you lived in. They, you know, people got sick, people died, people lost their jobs, people struggled financially. And, you know, and this is where the government, you know, stepped up and stepped in, whether it was money for small businesses, whether it was unemployment, help, food insecurity. I mean, my goodness, so many people just, you know, you lose your job, you lose all your income, then what? Right. And then unemployment was taking a long time because there was an unprecedented amount of people. And it was everything all at once. And, you know, I, of course, wasn't around in 2020 for the, you know, really the height of it, but it extended into 2021. I mean, one of the first, one of the first people that called our office was seeking help with unemployment because, you know, the economy still wasn't, you know, where it needs to be. Obviously, we're in a much better place, but except for, you know, inflation is out of control right now. But, you know, government stepping up to help and, you know, trying to bring folks relief as best as possible. And, you know, and speaking of mentioned inflation, we recently passed the New York State budget, which was a record $221 billion, which, you know, you say, oh my God, that's like more than some countries. A lot of it was one time, you know, shots in the arm from the federal government, you know, to help with, you know, COVID recovery, infrastructure, rent relief, utility arrears, you know, a lot, billions in that. But some of the things that we did, I think that people will be excited about is we are providing relief at the pump. We are doing a suspension of the state gas tax. And we're only one of 4 states, if you could believe it, that are doing this. We're doing it, though, at a very good time. We're going to start it when is the height of, you know, usually the gas prices in a normal time. Memorial Day, right? You know, the beginning of the summer, you know, the prices of gas are directly tied in to how much people drive, and how much people drive is around that time. So we're going to start it then June 1st, and we're going to continue it through the end of the year. So we're, you know, a little bit, you know, it'll help small businesses, it'll help struggling families, and of course, seniors on a fixed income. And then the other thing that we're doing is we are going to be providing a homeowners rebate check, homeowners tax rebate. And it's going to be, it's going to impact about 500,000 Long Islanders. They will get up to upwards of $1,300. The cap is 250,000 combined household income. But for folks, you know, who are, you know, under $75,000, which is a lot of our, you know, retirees and senior citizens, fixed income, you know, they'll get over $1,000. And these checks will come out probably in the fall. Sometime in the fall. So looking forward to that. And, you know, just a little bit, you know, to help, you know, we have this money, we have these reserves, we have this influx of cash, and we're trying to give it back to the people who need it the most. And so that's what this budget, you know, seeks to do. And then another thing from the budget that I think people will be interested in is our roads. Pothole Central. Oh my goodness gracious. So Operation Pave Our Potholes, statewide, $1 billion. On Long Island, 157 million. And this is, you know, Long Island for, you know, people who live in our area, you know, the Long Island Expressway, horror. And so this is going to, you know, go towards that. And then another project that I'm very excited about, and I think our listeners will be too, is Northern Boulevard. Finally, we have money. to take care of Northern Boulevard, especially in Great Neck, that portion between Lakeville Road, by Peter Luger's and the firehouse over there. Oh my, it's
Yeah.
horrible. It's been patched up so many times. I think it's worse that way than if there was potholes.
Right.
And it's like you're like off-roading, like on Northern Boulevard.
Right.
So money is going to be going into that. I'm so happy about. So, we're really like, getting things done and, delivering and bringing these much needed resources to, so much money is coming into Long Island. It's really incredible. And I'm so excited about it.
And you're part of it. You're representing,
Absolutely.
part of the town of North Hempstead.
Yeah, it's such an honor. It really is to do this job and to help people. And like I said before, I really want folks to call no matter what, if you need me for whatever reason. And P.S. I worked in all levels of government, so I can help you navigate.
That's
So if
great.
you're not sure if
Gina,
it's state.
We are so happy. Unfortunately, we have to take a break. Thank you
Oh,
so
sure.
much. Congratulations. Great information. And, I'm sure you'll get some sign up from the radio show for people for your programming. Again,
Thank you so much for having me.
it's our pleasure, and I hope we have you back again.
Absolutely.
You're listening to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We will be right back.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You. With the talk of the town, we've had an incredible show, Kristina. Along with you pulling the show together, you're also hosting the show because Otto is not here today. However, we hope that he's having a really good time and it's a fun time off. But do you realize we had 5 guests today?
I know Otto is not going to be happy about all the wonderful information he missed.
I know. We had the first 3 guests were, I knew kind of what to expect, but I the twist for me was that it was positive. Like, no one wants to get that diagnosis. But there's techniques and ways to, live the life and be part of life and still be happy. And, it's good to know that it's a proactive, way of living.
And that's a great point that you mentioned, Beck, because obviously, and I think, we've seen, the shift over the years, and there's so many more resources available and studies that have been done, so whereas, many, many years ago, it might have been, all right, you have Alzheimer's, you kind of just ride your days out at home, and
right.
We like the stereotypical, image that's painted. And I think, it's just now all the different things to really enhance the quality of life and to not necessarily stop the progression, but, to really ease things. I'm always so blown away by, the power of music. In these
and
things.
the art.
And as I'm sitting there, because my mind is also very much in TV land, and I'm a very big This Is Us fans.
Yes.
And I was thinking, because one of the main characters, as she's older, has Alzheimer's, and her adult children are dealing with it. And it was that exact situation where she kept, thinking that her son was her husband who had passed away. And instead of correcting her, it was that, therapeutic fibbing. It was just going with it. And some of the kids were like, why are we, and it was like, this is actually the better thing to do, because you're not putting that constant shock and trauma that dad's dead,
Yeah.
But it was just, and I just think that's my favorite part. And every week we do this show, I sit back and I think about just how cool it is to showcase these organizations and these resources. And I love the interconnectedness of things, so it's, if you can call one of them, they can say, well, listen, this organization might have some great resource for you, might be a better fit, so it's so important. And I think, just knowing that organizations and resources like this are out there for you, certainly calms you down a little bit. You can have these things in your toolbox and not feel, because I think so much of it is just feeling alone and lost, and kind of like, where do I go? So they were wonderful, and of course we had two fabulous elected officials on, who are doing great things in the community, and in the coming weeks we're going to have different ones popping on. So I think it's really important to get the word out there about the really good stuff that's going on,
Really good
and all
stuff.
different.
I think Councilman Zuckerman took part of your job away today. He went over a lot of the stuff that's happening.
He did, but he did leave out some things, which I wanted to, because
What
I
would
know
that be?
our fabulous Julie Chin gave me something to announce, so I want to make sure that I get to it. Councilman Zuckerman had mentioned Springfest, which is next week, Saturday, April 30th, from 12 to 5 at Clark Botanic Garden. I mean, it's a full jam-packed schedule between magic shows and raptor shows, circus performances, music, and games. There's all kinds of little arts and crafts, which is adorable. I love this wooden leaf decorating. And then there's a beautiful gardens, and then there's going to be different characters that you could take pictures with, and music. It's a really jam-packed program, and I love Springfest because it's definitely one of those programs that's great for all ages. So everyone in the community can come out. Hopefully it's a beautiful day, because it's certainly a beautiful venue.
It really is. That park is just.
And what they're also looking for that is for volunteers.
Yes.
And now it could be volunteers of some students, if you want to volunteer, or even adults, older adults that might want to. We're taking, all different, anyone that's interested, really.
Right.
But that's for Springfest. It's also for Asian American Fest, and of course Fun Day Mondays, which we'll be kicking off in July this month. So you can call up a 311. Or you could actually direct call 516-869-2431. That's what the flyer says. So you could reach out directly. And I think it's just a great opportunity. You want to get, you have some free time, you want to get some, sure you get some school credits for it. So it's a great opportunity. And there's great, just events. It's nice. This is my favorite time of the year. The sun is shining. There's great programs, outdoor events that are coming up to do. So I just encourage people to either check out Springfest or volunteer for Springfest as well. And we had touched upon Asian American Fest. That is going to be on May 14th from 12 to 5. And this is at North Hempstead Beach Park. Asian American Festival is always an incredible day, filled with just so much culture and food and cute little market shops and
entertainment and it's wonderful.
It's really an amazing event. It's one of my favorite events. So you could definitely check that out as well, which it's just nice to have these things kind of back to full capacity back. I think we're finally being able to do that, which is really, really nice. I also want to remind people that Operation Clean Sweep is going to be kicking off next week. So it's a 2-week process, I love that too, get rid of the winter dirt and debris. And it's kind of just a rebirth of, the North Hempstead streets, but it's really important to get your vehicle off the street from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on these days, so the most effective cleanup can begin. So it's going to be week 1 is Monday, April 25th to Friday, April 29th. And this is for all areas not within incorporated villages and south of Long Island Expressway. Then week 2 is Monday, May 2nd to Friday, May 6th. And this is all areas not within incorporated villages and north of the Long Island Expressway will be swept. So you could always call 311 or 516-869-6311 to get the specifics of all that, because we certainly want to optimize to the best ability while the cleaning that will be done. So just want to remind people of that. And Beck, we also have tons of Project Independence programs coming up. If I could find my papers, if you guys only saw my table with all the guests we've had today, my table is just covered with information. We have our St. Francis cardiac screening van is going to be making its rounds to a bunch of locations in May. It's going to be at the Port Washington Adult Activity Center on May 2nd, at Great Neck Social Center on May 10th, Magnolia Gardens on May 18th, and Fuschillo Park, May 24th. It's always from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You do not need to make an appointment, which is my favorite part about the van.
Yeah.
Just kind of
Great.
show up. I know there's going to be, I'm not sure if it's already aired on North Hempstead TV, but there was a great little promo video look into what to expect in these different vans. And it's just a great partnership, one of our favorite partnerships over at Project Independent.
So keep in mind too that they stay on schedule because they may have somewhere else to go. So if you think you're going to get there at 2,
the last people are seen at like 1:45. So I always want to remind people you're best getting up. Right.
You get there soon because they have another location to go to right after us, so they can't stay. So please get there. Give yourself at least a half an hour.
Absolutely. And if you miss one, there's always more.
Always another.
Every month, we always have different locations. We have coming up on May 4th is Watch Your Step Fall Prevention Program. That's been getting a lot of great buzz. It's going to be presented through our Northwell Health nurses. It's a 4-session program, and it's really all about learning ways to decrease fall risks, just simple exercise to really strengthen your balance, the importance of medications for your bone health, which I thought was very interesting, and home safety. There's going to be different speakers. This is going to be at John D. Camera Park in Albertson. So I really encourage it. There's definitely some spots left. So if you are interested in signing up, you could still do that as well. So it's all good stuff. We still have our support groups that are meeting in a variety of ways. Our caregiver support group is still via Zoom. That meets on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. We have our social discussion group, which is on Zoom. That's on Thursdays. And our men's group, that's on Fridays on Zoom. And of course, we have our Blankets of Love group, which I just have to give a special shout out to, is like the rapid growing group of Project Independence. Our fabulous social worker, Andrea Taylor, who is the facilitator of this group, had just sent me a bunch of new names to add to our list. And there's like 30 something members now. I mean, I remember when Blankets of Love was just a tiny little group of women who,
just a few,
and they're like this, they're just growing massively, and are just the volume of what they're producing and donating to different organizations that need it it's so special. It's one of my favorite groups because I just think, they're getting something out of it, and then they're coming up with a product that's going to wonderful causes in the community. So it's just great. If you're interested in that, certainly call 311 to sign up for that. As well, we have our Golden Hearts bingo and blood pressure screening group, which is really, really wonderful. And that meets on Thursdays at 11 a.m. at the Roslyn Community Center. So that's right on Orchard Street over there. So if you're interested in that, you can play bingo and get your blood pressure checked and really just kind of meet one-on-one with a social worker and a nurse. And I always remind people too that you are able now to go to the offices, the Project Independence offices, to meet with your social worker or nurse. You can call for a home visit. They will come to your home now. Or you could still, if you want to talk to them on the phone, that is still obviously always an option too. So it's really great that they're back in the community and connecting, and it's all good stuff. So
really, I mean, we've had so many of our seniors that can't get out now having their favorite PI social worker or nurse come visit them. It's just life-changing. They're so excited and so important. It's
absolutely
wonderful, incredible offering.
Yeah, and it's just it's great because I love that the nurses and social workers, a lot of times they do these collaborative kind of visits together, and it's really great because it's like a little tailored approach to your healthcare and what you might need. And and sometimes you don't even know what you need. You just want to know kind of what services are out there and different options that you have.
Right.
So it's really great. And the first step is always to call 311.
Right.
I want to also mention that if I could find my paper, next week's guest we have on, if I could only find where I put it here. Oh, here it is. Next week we have on Eileen Karina, who is from the Pulse Center for Patient Safety Education and Advocacy. They've been on the show, done a lot of great programs. It's a wonderful organization. that really focuses on, advocacy and taking ownership of your healthcare. So it's a wonderful, wonderful organization. And we also have a bonus guest. We have Supervisor Jennifer DeSena will be coming on the show for her radio debut. So I'm really excited to have her on. She is going to give a little state of the town recap, and just get a glimpse into our radio family over here.
Yeah.
So, it should be wonderful. So definitely check that out. I want to always remind people, if you missed a show, you are able to go to our Project Independence website, and all the archive shows are on there, or you can go to YouTube and check out the WCWP Studios YouTube page with all of our shows on there. And you could also check out North Hempstead TV, which you might be watching right now. So either way, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. So it's such wonderful information, and I encourage people to always check it out, because it makes
Kristina, just kudos to you. I know I say this almost every show, but the guests that you get on the show, and in the 11th year, it's just still amazing. In every show, I always have a little angst before the show. You always have a little bit, like,
of course,
say, do I, is there enough information? And then it never fails. There's never enough time to really finish with the guests. Like, I could have gone on with, Gina forever, or even, Councilman Zuckerman, especially the first 3 guests. I mean, it's amazing. And, you just pull this off, and you're a host as well too. And, you do it all.
Team effort over here. But, and I'm a broken record, because I always say on this show, it's just being able to disseminate really helpful information that can change people's lives, whether you're the senior or you're the caregiver, or, you're listening to this as a provider in the community. I mean, every show that I do, I learn something, so it's for selfish reasons too. It's like an educational, we can get college credits back for these interviews.
Yeah.
But,
you hear that, Dan? Can you?
Can I get some CCU credits?
I get some credit.
Work.
But also kudos and to Dan, always director of.
He's our very own Wizard of Oz behind there. I must say, making the magic happen, making us look good.
Makes it happen every week. Makes us look so good.
But really, there's a lot of other great guests that will be coming up in May. We're, of course, going to have our international guest, Carrie.
I know, that's so exciting.
Gina Ekins, who is the founder and CEO of Drums Alive program. So I'm really excited to have her on to talk about the benefits of Drums Alive, and kind of how to do it at home, which is really, really fun. So, and then we have Councilwoman Veronica Lurvy will also be on. Right. And then May 13th, we have on Helen Keller Services for the blind and deaf will be on. They're in the community too in Port Washington. They're based, and they provide amazing, amazing services. On May 20th, we have on 2 representatives from General Security. One is my best friend and soon-to-be sister-in-law, and they are going to come on talking about wellness safety technology for seniors. Which is, I'm so interested in this realm, Beck. As we know, it comes up a lot now. We're really trying to look into it. We've been doing a lot of talking about Alexa and kind of how that can be incorporated into your home, kind of wellness and safety. So that I'm really excited to learn about, just other things that are out there. And then we have on Councilwoman Delamonte will also be on with us. And then May 27th, we have the Transition Network of Long Island will be on talking about what they do. They're a group of amazing women who, are just trying to stay active. And I'm really intrigued to how to sign up for that and kind of what goes on there. So that is May. I'm well into booking June programs. We got some other great shows coming up in June as well. So there's just a lot of good stuff. And you could always call 311 or 516-869-6311 for any of this information that we've discussed today.
Well, you know what? That brings us perfect timing to the end of another great show, great information. Thanks to all of our guests, to Dan Cox, to Kristina Lou,
and
even
to you, my dear,
Otto, who's not here, but I know is going to be sad that he missed another wonderful show. But you've been listening to Project Independence in You, community Talk Radio and 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Have a great weekend all, and we will be back next week.